versus IQ? What determines success? While many of us may find work from home situation challenging, one of its perks is that while doing the most difficult task, we can sip on our favorite homemade beverage. Today, I am very much excited to introduce our panelists. And I also want to share that I have joined this conversation with my energy drink, and that's my all-time favorite masala chai. वो कहते हैं ना, मजबूत रिश्ते और कड़क चाय धीरे धीरे ही बनते हैं. तो चलिए चाय पे चर्चा से उन्हीं मजबूत रिश्तों की शुरुआत करते हैं. Let's also ask our panelists about their favorite hot beverage. Are they a coffee person or a chai lover? Let's start with Nivedita ma'am, Director Public Relation in Mahatma Education Society, Pillai, Group of Institution, Maharashtra. Ma'am is in the field of education for last 20 years. She is an associate professor in the field of marketing for last 22 years, and her expertise are in the field of brand management strategies and communication techniques. Welcome, ma'am. So, ma'am, please tell us, what do you drink to bring back your energy?
Well, Dave, hi, good evening to all of you. I am a purely chai-holic. I love having tea, and tea gives me that energy. And whenever I'm working, I need a sip of tea. And you know, the way I take tea is, I never take a full cup of tea, you know, always I'll take half cup of tea so that my guilt, I can settle it down that I'm having less tea, and I can have it like 5-6 times in a day. So that is the way I take my tea, just to keep me up and energized. That's my favorite. Yes.
That's great.
Chai-holic.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. That's great. Now, moving on to our next panelist, B.K.Singh, sir. Sir is the principal at Delhi Public School, Dehradun, member of International Association of Physics Teacher, treasurer in Dinesh Singh Foundation, recipient of National Scholarship for Excellence in Academics. Welcome, sir. So please tell us what is there in your cup and what makes it so special. Sir, you need to unmute yourself. Yes, sir, please.
I would like to have milk. Always used to. Yes, it's in my cup.
I must say that milk is the secret of your energy.
Maybe.
Right. Thank you, sir. Our next panelist is Serai, sir. Sir is the Director Principal at Satluj Public School, Panchkula, an international educational leader, innovative, passionate, and committed team player for the growth of educators and learners. Welcome, sir. So, sir, please tell us what is there in your mug.
Well, to be honest with you, it depends upon the time of the day. I like my different drinks depending upon the time of the day. I love cappuccinos, I have to say. I have on average about 4 cappuccinos a day. But at this present moment, I had the fascination of drinking tea. And I've got it in my favorite mug, which says True Gent. That very much reflects, I'm not boasting about it, that very much shows the kind of person I am as well. So yes, I'm having, and I try to limit my hot drinks to about 4 per day, because more than that, I don't think it's actually beneficial in terms of health reasons. But yes, cappuccino keeps me going, and that keeps me energized.
Great, great. So I personally think that a coffee in a mug is like always a hug.
Oh, it is. And when you have a True Gent, that's even a better hug.
Oh, wow. That's great. So our next panelist is Indu Sharma, ma'am, principal at Jagannath International School, Pitampura. She has an experience of 19 years in teaching and 11 years as a principal, has received prestigious award like Global Excellence Award for Best Educationist and Management. So welcome, ma'am. So ma'am, please tell us, is it a tea or a coffee? Ma'am, you need to unmute yourself. Ma'am, you are not audible. You need to unmute yourself, ma'am. Indu, ma'am, we are not able to hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Now you're audible.
Yeah. I'm a tea person.
Oh, wow.
Tea person. I just love to have, in the evening especially, ginger and cinnamon tea. You know, it really refreshes you after a day-long work. And then I just need to relax with this cup and enjoy my evening.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. Our next panelist is Kavita, ma'am. She is currently serving as a principal at Chatrabhuj Narsee Memorial School at Mumbai. National Geographic Certificate Educator with 19 years of experience in teaching and 10 years in leadership position. Wow, that's great, ma'am. So, ma'am, please tell us what the secret drink in your cup today?
So it's already there. It's a cup of tea. and specially brewed by me because I know exactly what to add to make me fresh. So yes, tea is my thing.
Also, please tell us what is the secret ingredient in that.
So it's a lot of ginger, and it's also pudina. So it's all those things, mints also.
Oh wow, great. Great. So our next panelist is Neetu Blest ma'am, principal at the Modern School Faridabad. She is a passionate and dedicated educationist with 25 years of experience as a teacher, as a trainer, and as a leader. She believes in collaborative approach involving active participation of all the stakeholders in building a strong learning organization. Welcome, ma'am. So, ma'am, is it tea or a coffee?
Thank you, Ishan, so much. Core chai person.
Wow.
So all-time favorite is ginger and black pepper tea.
Great.
Yes.
So let's find out what Vandana ma'am has to say. Great, thank you. Our next panelist is Vandana ma'am, former principal at GD Goenka Public School. With 26 years of experience in the field of education, she has been working tirelessly to improve teaching system in India in close collaboration with CBSE, NCERT, and IIT Delhi. So welcome, ma'am. Please tell us what is brewing in your cup. Ma'am, you need to unmute yourself.
Thank you for the introduction, Ishan. Between my favorites, all-time favorites. So when it comes to cup of tea,
Ma'am, I guess there is a technical error. And I guess technology lags when it's most needed. So, ma'am, we will come back to you again. Thank you, all the panelists. Now, before we move further, I would also want to know what is our audience favorite hot beverage. For this, we will have a quick poll on your screen. I request all the audience and panelists to answer in 60 seconds. So, Indu ma'am, what is your preferred high tea time? What time do you love to have your tea?
I love to have between 5 to 5:30. This is the ideal time for me to have tea, Ishan.
Oh, great, great. Kavita ma'am, please tell us, what do you drink in your high tea?
4 to 4:30 is my tea.
Audible.
I think I'm already filling your poll.
It's a phase I went to.
Vandana ma'am, I guess there's some connectivity error. There's some connection error. We are not able to see you.
Okay,
so let's see now.
I'll just check the number.
Right, ma'am. So let's see what the results are, what our audience have to say. And wow, 55% of people says that 5 to 5:30 is the right time to have the tea. And I guess just like our panelists, our audience also love to have class tea. Great. So before we move further, Vandana ma'am, I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear you. Great. Thank you all. I request all the audience to keep writing the question in the Q&A box as we are going to have Q&A session towards the end of the webinar. Also today, we will allow audience to directly ask the question from the favorite panelist. So the topic of today's webinar is EQ versus IQ, what determines success? And I request all the panelists to share their thoughts in 5 minutes. We also have a buzzer to remind the panelists that 4 minutes are over. Hope that is going to be helpful. Now I request Nivedita ma'am to kickstart the conversation. Over to you, Nivedita ma'am. Ma'am, you need to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm audible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you so much to Rocksport for organizing such a wonderful webinar today evening and giving all of us opportunity to come on same platform. And I'm so blessed and I feel so happy to be amidst of so many well-known educationists who have been working in the field of education and who have been helping the students, the youth and the kid of India to grow and become successful in life by giving them right kind of coaching, training, education, everything. So being a teacher, being a principal, being a mentor, being a coach is not an easy job. It's a very, very big responsibility on those human beings who are working in the field of education. So I want to go one step ahead and say, ki, right, when you see now it's a pandemic time, this economic crisis that all over the world people are going through like a lot of hell. At this time we say doctors and the medical profession, the police people, this all people are the frontline workers. But I think along with them now we should add one more class of people in the frontline stream, that is the teachers and the educators, because they are the one who are keeping the houses, they are the one who are keeping the students, they are the one who are keeping them busy, training them, educating them, giving their 100% from home and working like a frontline warrior who are helping them to prepare and study at home. So that is what one thing I want to tell you. Now, regarding today's topic about against the EQ versus IQ. So I want to start with one small story which actually happened. It's not a story, it's an issue which happened many years ago. One very successful boy from Chennai, and exceptionally brilliant boy, all over 99%, 98%, and he was very good student, intelligent student. He was scoring very good marks. He was a blue-eyed boy for all the teachers, for the parents. Everywhere he used to go, he used to get lots of praises because he was intelligent. He got 99%, and as he was good, he got admission in IIT Madras. So he was very happy, and even there the trend continued. You know, he was a topper in that university also. He was a gold medalist at IIT Madras. So he was picked up by a very, very good company from USA for the placement with a very hefty pay package, you know, like beyond, like a dream package for any student. So he went to America, he took this job and he was doing exceptionally well. And he was settled in US, and he fell in love with one Tamilian girl there, and they got married. And they had a beautiful life. They had they bought a beautiful house, a 5-bedroom hall kitchen house, because his pay package was exceptionally well, and he was picked up by a good IT company. But then he had kids, he had a luxury car, everything was going on very well. But suddenly in between there was economical crisis which happened, and all the IT companies had actually come down, and most of the people were laid off from the companies. And he was also the one of the person who had to leave the job because of this downturn which was happening in the IT field. And he had to leave his job, and he was practically in a very, very bad shape. He went to depression, and he was not able to pay his EMIs of the house, EMIs of the car, and he had 2 little kids along with his wife. And he tried to pull over for 1 year or 12 months, or like 1.5 years, but he couldn't manage it. Finally he decided to shot himself along with his wife, and he even killed his kids. So what is the whole story trying to tell us? Is IQ enough to survive? Is IQ enough to give you the inner strength from inside? Or is this IQ making you kill your family, making kill your surroundings, your peace, your happiness? So this is my biggest worry today. Ki IQ is not the only thing which is going to help you to survive in life. The biggest thing which is coming up nowadays is EQ. I want to say not only IQ, EQ, EQ deals to CQ, that is compassion, quotient. This is one more new quotient which has just come up recently after everybody facing this pandemic issue. Compassionate quotient, and you also need to have a spiritual quotient. So all these quotients, 4 of them, have to be together so that a person, a boy, a youth, or a human being can lead a good, balanced life. At the same time, one small story I want to narrate here. There was one small boy who took admission in a new school where there was a football team and he was a football player. So he started going on the ground for practice. When he went for the practice, as he was new student, he was a new boy, You know how the atmosphere is for the kids and for the student. All the principals here, they know what the students go through when they change to a new atmosphere, new environment. So he tried playing football there, and there were other 2 3 boys who were behind him, and they started bullying him. Arey, you have joined here. Let us see how you play football. We will not let you play football. Whatever it is our game. How the ragging happens for the kids at that age. It's like bullying sort of a thing. So this boy was little scared, and he looked at them, and he started staring at them. And then, imagine what he did. He just said, Are bhaiya, if I can't play football at all, I'm actually new to it. And I know you people play very good football, and I've seen you playing. Can you teach me how to play football? And this actually touched the hearts of those 3 boys. And those boys took their hand around that boy and said, "Chalo yaar, हम आपको तुम्हें football सिखाते हैं, कैसे खेलना, आज से तू हमारा दोस्त हो गया." So this is a way the EQ is applied. So EQ might be genetics, and it can also be developed as in when you grow up in life, when you experience things, and then you start acting and behaving. So there are basically 2 components. One is the IQ, which handles your intellectual components in your brain, which is called as database, your mathematical functionals, your memory, everything. All those data related things are handled in the IQ. Whereas in EQ, you experience things like love, emotions, jealousy, friendship, insecurity, liking. This all things come up in EQ factor. So both these factors, IQ plus EQ, if they are balanced and handled properly, you will automatically see the success in a child or in a human being. So at the same time, I feel that EQ plays a very, very major role for all of us rather than IQ, because you should know how to deal with people with a lot of compassion, understanding. If you are able to handle people with love, emotion, compassion, understanding, then I think you can win any war, right? So at the same time, applying right kind of EQ is also very, very important. For example, let's take our Prime Minister Modi ji. So when we had so many fights on the border, India, Pakistan, and then Modi ji says, "Arey, chalne do, hame kya karna hai, hum dekhte rahenge, it is okay," and fight. And he doesn't take any step. So that means he's not using his EQ in the right angle. He took a step, and then he actually fired across the border, and then he threw some bombs. So that sort of EQ and the thinking is very much important for everybody. So I think there has to be a right blend of it. And as educationists here, all the principals are here. I actually want to get to know from them as policymakers, because you are the people who are dealing with children every day. You're seeing them grow, you're seeing their patterns, their behavior, the educational, the way they behave in the school. You are observing them. So as policymakers, what is the change you want to suggest to the system? What is the change you feel that we should make in the syllabus, that we should make in the educational policy, that will help students to grow stronger from inside? Outside, we are doing everything. You see, we are giving them good knowledge, we are giving them good subjects, we are training them with good literature. But what is that you're doing to make them stronger from inside? What are the ideas you have in your mind? And what are the steps we as educationists, and what are the steps we as educationists suggest to the government to apply in the new education format, is the whole discussion today about. So can we begin with this discussion from all the principals here? Ishan, are we good to go?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first,
can I just say something?
Yes.
Sorry, can we just jump in, or are you going to call names?
It's actually, we are going to call names so that we can take opinions from everybody. Yeah. So is that okay? Okay with you?
Absolutely fine. I think that's the right way forward.
Okay. So superb. So before going to B.K. Singh, sir, I want to tell about all the participants here before I start this discussion, that all these participants are already having a high EQ. You know why? because ये जमाना पूरा webinars का जमाना है. Every day there are like 10-15 webinars, and I am also scared to forward a single invite of webinar to anybody. The atmosphere has become like this, and hats off to all our 267 participants who are with us, which is already proving that you are having excellent EQ because you're trying to stick to the webinar after going through the webinar seasons, you see. So congratulations to all our participants for showing this amazing, I guess, a challenge of attending another webinar. So I hope we all will not let you down. We have beautiful ladies here who are going to talk wonderfully. We have so many good principles here. So we are not going to let you down, and definitely you will go back by taking some very good tips from all our educationists. So let's begin this discussion. So I'm very excited and happy to see that I have Dr. Mr. B.K. Singh, sir, the principal of Delhi Public School. Delhi Public School, one of the most prestigious brands in the field of education in India, in the field of CBSE board. So we are very happy that we have him on our board today. So Dr. B.K. Singh, sir, आप दूध पीते हैं and वो दूध का कलर आपकी स्किन पे दिख रहा है. आप बहुत
Thank
अच्छा.
you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So very good evening to all of you. And I'm really feeling enriched. Okay, I'm attending this webinar with all of you. Before starting this 5 minutes only time you have given to me, but I want to tell you one thing which is very important, and that my very small story can prove that I'm very strong in EQ. You can't believe I'm up to class 12th. I was in a village. I was in a primary school, government primary school. And up to class 6th, it was very difficult to learn ABCD and all. So it was in 6th somewhere. So we have started English. So I'm very poor in English. So please, if some mistake is there. So since last so many years, I'm teaching in DPS as a teacher, and still I'm a teacher. I'm taking classes. I'm interacting with students. So today's topic is what determines success, EQ or IQ. But before that, we should know what is EQ and what is IQ. When we are talking about these two words, why these emotional quotient and intelligence quotient has recently become so vital topic for discussion. What is the reason behind this? What the truth is, the terms have direct connection with the professional activities and are interrelated in the context of achieving success. Emotional intelligence or emotional quotient is an individual ability. It is varying from person to person to identify, to evaluate, to control, to express emotions. People with high EQ usually make great leaders, team players, because of their ability to understand, to empathize, to connect the people with around them. It is their quality. While IQ or intelligence quotient is score derived from one of several standard tests designed to assess an individual's intelligence. IQ is used to determine academic abilities and identify individuals with off-the-chart intelligence or mental challenges. EQ is better indicator of success in the workplace and is used to identify leaders, good team players, and the people who best work for by themselves. What is it like to live without emotions? Why does music affect a lot? How it is all about related to our success, and other issues are often viewed in the context of emotional intellects. It is known that the level of IQ is an objective indicator of the mental abilities which cannot be changed. The coefficient of intelligence predetermines the success in school, at work, and what about success in life? Many researchers note that high emotional intelligence positively affects the ability to work even more than IQ, since emotional intelligence is the ability of a person to perceive his or her own emotions. It also affects the ability to work in a team and catch the mood of colleagues, unlike intelligence. Unlike IQ, which is led genetically, a person can develop, can regulate, can increase his emotional intelligence throughout their life and achieve success in the areas where single intelligence works less. To understand whether there is any reason to talk about low emotional intelligence, you should pay attention to everybody's thoughts, deeds, feelings, and emotions. Sometimes we are feeling low EQ, and if we are, then certainly we have some symptoms like insecurity in oneself and your actions, tendency to excessive self-criticism, and inability to find a common language with other. When we are talking about the emotional competence, so self-awareness, when you are, your knowledge, your internal states, your performances, your opportunities, you are very much aware about all. Self-regulation, social competence, and empathy. Social skills also, if you have all these type of qualities, then certainly your EQ level is little high. The emotional quotient relates to a worker's comprehension of his or her feelings alongside his or her associates feelings at the work environment to make better work coordination and condition. In the examination, experienced colleagues with high EI, emotional intelligence, conveyed near about many millions, you can say 1.42 million extra benefits if they are with high EQ. If we are talking about when working in an organization, judging an individual's EI, keep in mind how he or she may grasp and apply his or her own feelings, express his or her emotions, perceive and value his or her own potential. So if we will say, if we will compare EQ and IQ, then certainly I will go with EQ. 80% of your total achievement is because of your EQ, and 20% is because of IQ. So be positive, try your level best to be, you can say, to interact, to work, to evaluate, to judge, and certainly you can develop some good habits, you can develop some leadership qualities, and if you are a leader, then certainly your EQ level is very high as compared to others. And being the teacher, I'm not saying being the principal, being the teachers, we all have very high EQ level. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That's very nicely put. Actually, we actually need to have really good amount of EQ to survive today in this world. And actually, EQ helps and gives you a lot of strength. So we stand by your opinion, and thank you for sharing that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And sir, आपने तो बोला था आपकी इंग्लिश बढ़िया नहीं, आपकी इंग्लिश तो बहुत परफेक्ट थी.
अरे मैडम कहाँ परफेक्ट है, लोग मुझे कहते हैं तुम्हें इंग्लिश नहीं आती.
You are very good, sir. You are very good.
You madam, you can't believe, I do not want to share, but I am sharing here. My father was a lecturer in inter college in my village only, and he was Hindi lecturer. And my mother was illiterate lady. She never used to write her name and all these things. And always used to say कि I know each and everything. When she used to ask us कि आप आइए बैठिए पढ़िए, और हम कुछ अगर गलतियां बदमाशी करते थे तो वो कहती मुझे सब आता है. और उनके एक सेंटेंस ने हमको यहाँ से यहाँ तक DPS तक पहुंचा दिया. Otherwise,
that is a sign of having high EQ.
High EQ.
And
yes.
mothers have more EQ than anybody else.
Wonderful lady, wonderful lady.
Yes,
and it's something I have never seen. वैसे तो mother सबकी अपनी बहुत अच्छी होती हैं. But some exceptions are always there. So she was extraordinary. Okay, thank you very much. Please continue.
Sir. So now my next panelist, we have young and dynamic Guru Serai sir. So he's a director principal at Satluj Public School, Panchkula. Sir, welcome to you. And I'm sure you're living in such a beautiful heaven, Panchkula. You'll be having a good climate around you. And how are things there? And what are your opinion about EQ and IQ?
Well, first of all, I would like to say the previous speaker, Mr. B.K.Singh, I totally agree 100%. His English, I don't think you have to worry about it, sir. Your English was fabulous, and the way you spoke, I really, truly enjoyed it. Now, coming to Panchkula, yes, we're having great weather. It seems to, about a month ago, the monsoon started. So
certainly
the weather
it will increase my EQ and IQ both.
No,
thank
sir,
you.
Thank
you very much.
You are an inspiration. I have to honestly say.
Thank you very much.
So
thank you.
Coming to Panchkula, it's obviously
Sure,
the
sir.
weather is really nice.
I will visit. I will visit.
Thank you very much. It's lovely weather. Now,
thank you.
Now, moving on to the core question, the IQ versus EQ. I can only say from my own experience that IQ alone doesn't take you far. You have to have the emotional intelligence to go with it. Going back to my experience, I've had the great privilege to actually lead schools in the UK. I led schools in the UK before I went to India about 4 years ago. So in the UK, what I noticed, yes, intelligence, and the same in India as well, intelligence takes you to a limit. But after that, it's the emotional intelligence which takes you far. Now, quite rightly mentioned previously about the pandemic. The pandemic has really changed a lot of people, the way we think. First of all, now we are more used to technology. Staying indoors for about 3 months is not easy. You have to have the resilience to do that. And that's where emotional intelligence has played a big part. Look at young children, at the age of 2 or 3, they do not know what a pandemic is. They have played no major part in the pandemic, but look at their resilience, staying indoors. So now is the time where resilience is tested to its limit. Now, coming back to EQ versus IQ, when I came to the UK, I was actually born here, but I originally arrived in the UK 28 years ago, before I came to India 4 years ago. Now, I had the intelligence, but what I was actually lacking was the emotional intelligence, not able to judge people quickly. But I learned the hard way very, very quickly that judging people is an art. And to get into leadership, you have to do that. There is no other choice. So eventually, when I remember my first job interview, when I went for a job interview as a teacher, and I was actually told by the panel of 3 people that you are the worst teacher we have interviewed. And I looked at them thinking, well, my dad always used to say education is part of your DNA. You're going to be a great teacher. And here these guys are saying I'm the worst teacher they have interviewed. But anyway, a lot of people would say, I'm going to join a different profession. I didn't do that. I actually stuck to my guns and I said, this is the profession I want to do because teaching is part of my DNA. And I have not looked back. Within the 24 years I have worked in the UK, from starting on as a teacher, I became as one of the best educationists in the UK. They called me the troubleshooter. So wherever there was a problem in schools and where results were low, I was given the opportunity to go to those schools, lead those schools to turn failing schools into successful schools. And the only way I could do that was not due to intelligence, you have to have it, but it was the emotional intelligence. That plays a fundamental part. Now, then coming to India about 4 years ago, had the great privilege, I'm still there. It's a privilege teaching in India, leading schools in India. And over here, what I've actually noticed, again, emotional intelligence plays a fundamental part. Now, looking at all these examples, there is a young child that comes to my mind. Her name was Hayat. She came from Somalia. At that time, Somalia was very much taken over by the terrorists. So she saw her parents, both mum and dad, at the age of 4, shot in front of her. In front of her eyes, she saw her parents were shot. She traveled all the way to get to the UK. She walked for miles and miles through Europe. The journey was very harsh, but she came to this country at the age of 6. Now, very intelligent child, but emotionally very, very disturbed. But because of her resilience, by the time she reached 16, and I could see her development going through, she topped in her school. She got the top grades. Now I'm very proud to say that Hayat is actually now in Oxford University. She's studying at Oxford University, one of the best universities in the world. Now, what has taken her that far was the emotional resilience. She had no family. She was reliant upon her uncle and her aunt in the UK. But those inner strengths took her to where she is today. And I'm absolutely certain, kind of person she is, she will do even better. Likewise, I've got a lot of examples in India as well, where emotional intelligence plays a big, big part. You've got students from India, from Hyderabad, the IITs. They come to America, they come to the UK. Of course, the emotional side is there. But what takes them to another level is the emotional intelligence. Look at the Sundar Pichai, the chair, the CEO of Google. If you look at his journey from where he started from an ordinary family. Parents did not have enough money for him to go to Stanford University. So he went there, and look at him today. He is the CEO of Google. So everything is possible. That's what I'm trying to say. Alongside your intelligence, you need to have emotional intelligence and not to give up. Look at your failures as a sign of success. Now, all the people on the panel, and I'm sure they've had this failures, but they have succeeded in what they have turned their failures into success. Hence, that's why they are the leaders of big educational organizations. So nothing comes easy on a plate. You have to fight for it, and you have to target. Once you are a master of your audience, you know what your workforce requires. You're able to communicate to a large audience. That's where emotional intelligence comes in. The world is your oyster. You can succeed. So what I'm trying to say, to cut the whole thing short, because I know I'm running out of time, intelligence alone is not going to take you far. You have to have the resilience, and you have to have the emotional intelligence. Ultimately, that is the one thing that is going to determine you as a person. And that's what we impart at Satluj Public School. Our curriculum is designed in such a way, of course, our children do academically well, but at the same time, our children, the curriculum is such, we do various activities, which ensures they become emotionally resilient as well. And I think that's a very important part. Our children, look at the soldiers fighting against China on the border. If it wasn't for their resilience, emotionally, they were not strong, working in those kind of climates, the situation could have been very bad. Right. Of course, we cannot talk about the number of soldiers that died in the process, but all of them were brave, and emotionally they were strong. Now that's what the India we require. And I am absolutely certain with the way things are going, India has got we have got the youngest working force in the world. And because of I could see the next generation being emotionally strong, of course, India will be in a far better place than what it is today. Thank you very much for the time. And thank you for the audience for listening.
Yes. Thank you, Serai sir. It was wonderfully presented, the story of that Somalian girl. This is a way, I remember one thing, when we make diamond, the diamond goes through the most toughest process of polishing. It comes in a rough form, but once the polishing is done, it comes like a pure diamond of the most beautiful thing and the gem available on the earth. So I think experiences and the situations in our life teaches us how we can be resilient. I think that is one of the messages what I'm trying to take from your talk. So, and resilience, yes, I think we all are going through this process, and I think in this 3.5 months we all have learned
become more resilient.
Yes, the nature has taught us how to be resilient, otherwise we were not before. So I think this is a very, very important aspect that we need to train our kids and the youth how they can be resilient. Very well presented, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the time. I just want to say one thing.
Yes.
As teachers, we shape the lives of young children.
Yes.
And it gives me, and I'm sure you guys are the same. It personally gives me immense
Yes.
pleasure when you can that, and that's exactly what I did with Hayat years ago. And that is the best reward one could get as a teacher when you see your children doing so well.
Yes.
So
Thank
Nivedita
you.
ma'am,
Yes,
with your
Ishan.
due permission, can we have a
Yes.
poll?
Please, please go ahead.
Right. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
So can we have a poll on our screens? So my question is for Neetu ma'am. So ma'am, what do you think? Growing focus on EQ is for the benefit of students? What do you have to say on this?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Ishan. What I feel, this is the need of the hour actually. So it is definitely going to strengthen our students if we, as the education fraternity, stresses on it and takes the children along with it, being with them, mentoring them, holding them, and eventually making them strong, mentally strong.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. So B.K. Singh sir, what do you have to say on this? What are your views? B.K. Singh sir, if you can please unmute yourself. Yes, sir.
Yes.
So what are your views on this? Growing focus on EQ is the benefit of students.
Certainly, it will benefit all our students, and we should work on it. And we can share some very inspirational stories and all, just as from this Panchkula sir was something he was saying. So we have to share the stories. We have to motivate our students. We have to make them understand that without your EQ, or you can say high level of EQ, it's very difficult to survive in this world. It's not possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Neetu ma'am. Thank you, B.K. Singh sir. So let's see what the results are. Wow, great. 98% people says yes, growing focus on EQ is going to be benefit for the students. Wow. So over to you, Nivedita ma'am.
Yes. So we have our next panelist here. We have Indu Sharma madam here. She's a principal at Jagannath International School, Pitampura. Madam, welcome to you. And now we are waiting to listen from your side. What is that you have experienced regarding the EQ and IQ ka jo ye chakkar hai? What do you feel and how do you think we should propose this both elements to the educationist or to the policy makers? And what is that you have gone through while running the school, heading the school? What are your experiences about this? Kindly share to all our participants. Indu madam. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Nivedita. I'll take from your case study, I'll take up ahead. You narrated a very well case study of a IIT boy who could not succeed in life in a what we call it as in an actual manner. He was successful in his maybe financial conditions, but actually he failed in his life. But the case study that the researchers had made was very clear. It spoke loud and clear to everyone that the boy or that man was programmed for success. And he was never ever guided to face the failures or to face distress in one's life. So, what I feel is a good IQ or a good scholastic record can definitely take you ahead in life, but many people fail because of lack of EQ. They experience problems in their personal lives, they face problems at workplace, they face problems in interpersonal relationships. So definitely I feel EQ is more important in anyone's life. And whatever it is, because emotional quotient it helps the people to process and interpersonal relationships with each other. And I will just again quote one small case study of a boy who had cleared his IIT exam at the age of 14. uh, though he could clear the exam at the age of 14, get into an IIT Kanpur, but could not sustain there, only for the reason because when he was there with his fellow students, they had far better skills than this boy, because he was homeschooled all the time. He was homeschooled by his mother, and he was never made to interact with others, just into academics and academics. So at that point of our time, when the child was made to enter IIT Kanpur, he could not sustain much longer. Finally, they had to bring him back, for only reason because he could not lead his life as a normal student. Why? Because his emotional quotient was very low. It was never ever developed according to the child's growth. And we all talk about emotional quotient, we all talk about intelligence quotient. Okay, intelligence quotient is what we have. But I feel emotional quotient is that what we imbibe from our parents, from our fellow friends, from the elders in the family. This is what I believe. Because what we see in our family, we try to gather that. So emotional quotient is much dependent on our atmosphere, in our surroundings, and that is how we live up. And if emotional quotient is high in the children, they regulate their emotions in such a way that they have the capacity to overcome all the problems in their lives. Here I would also like to add one thing, that IQ and EQ, good enough, but along with that we should also have high resilience power, so that one bounces back emotionally when one is in distress. If the person goes into a distress, if the adversity quotient is very low, it becomes very difficult to get up emotionally and come back to normalcy. So that is why, according to me, along with EQ, AQ also has to be high. Otherwise, this will not work, because if we do not bounce back in a effective manner, the lives are devastated. And we have seen n number of study. I am sure, my dear panelists, that you all also must have gone in throughout your careers many such cases, and even the recent cases that we are seeing of a TikTok girl, of Sushant Singh Rajput. All these are what? They are all live examples of weak emotional quotient. They are all good examples of weak adversity quotient. Schools also do play a major role in shaping the child's life. As long as parents are there at one side, the second pillar, strong pillar, is the in the child's life is the school. So schools also do play a greater role in shaping up the child's development. That is emotional quotient. The teachers are the first ones to notice that yes, something is going wrong with my child. My child is going inside. Why my child is not responding? So this is where the teachers also do play a very, very great role. And they are the ones who are there to observe the child, help the child overcome one's own problems. And even we should encourage the students or the people to take a pause and think why actually factor is missing nowadays. And the thought process of introspecting oneself is not there. If we are ready to introspect among ourselves, I think things will become better. And we should be ready for criticism. I believe criticism is the stepping stone to hone your own personality. That is my personal belief. So criticism should be appreciated, and then we should all try to overcome what hurdles we are facing. So my request to all my viewers today is, please don't groom, please do not program your child for only success. Train your children in such a way that they are emotionally high, guard them in such a way that they have the capacity to fight back if they are going in a emotionally weak condition. And we should also see that they are strong enough to handle the situations. No matter, I do understand math, science, English, SST, all these subjects are very, very important to clear the competitive exams. But my dear parents and all my viewers, please understand that knowledge of life is far more better, and it is more required at present, in the present scenario. And let us not forget one thing, that success is a lousy teacher. This is what I believe. Success is a lousy teacher. Failures teaches us more. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That's very nicely put by you. We actually need to take pause and wait and introspect and understand what is actually the need of the hour today. It is not only maths, English, geography, history. It is something beyond this, which is much more
Very true.
serious, which is
Very,
much more serious, and which needs to pay a lot of attention. I mean,
very
even if
true.
you say at this point of time, if you want to make subject instead of six, just three subjects, and just three subjects on improving your EQ, I think then we are doing really something good for our future of India, or for the kids. I think it's a high time now we need to think how we can service the children from inside. I always give this example of this beautiful cars like we see Mercedes and Ferrari. They look so gorgeous from outside, beautiful color, nicely designed. But if you do not service them from inside, will they run well on the road? No. So this is what I think it's high time we all need to think about it and work about it. So rightly the subject is IQ versus EQ. Now we have our next panelist here, that is Kavita Sanghvi madam. She's a principal at Chatrabhuj Narsee Memorial School, Mumbai. So she's my neighbor. I'm also from Mumbai. So hi Kavita, welcome to you.
Hi, thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure to hear all the other speakers speak so much and lovely, inspirational stories. So thanks to Rocksport also. And I just want to start with some statistics. 1.3 lakh students committed suicide in India in 2018. 15% of Indians suffer from a mental health issue. Over 338 Indians killed themselves during the lockdown. And India has the highest suicide rate in Southeast Asia. Now, these are our statistics. So these statistics are telling us somewhere that we may be really intelligent, but somewhere the emotional quotient is not very high, and we are all facing that. And in the lockdown period, I think all of us have been looking at watching TV, watching programs, and most of all have been watching reruns of programs. So I myself have got hooked to Mahabharat once again. So when I watched it first time, I was quite young, but now when I'm watching it, it's a different strategy that I'm looking at. And one of the characters that I'm completely awed by is Shakuni. When I look at the kind of strategies that he's planning, I feel this man is so intelligent. My God, at that time, to have this kind of strategy to influence people and get things around, commendable. But still, he was responsible for the downfall of the entire family. And why? The entire Kauravas, he was responsible because his emotional quotient was so less. He just couldn't understand relationships. Had he made a friendship and got those people on his side, these people could have ruled the entire world because he had the intellect. On the other hand, when you watch Yudhishthir, you feel he's not very intelligent, but his emotional quotient is so high that he's able to connect with everybody and garner support for himself. All the five Pandava brothers garner support for themselves and make sure that they are sustained. So when you look at all these real life examples that is happening from history, has been telling us since 5,000 years or so many years, emotional quotient is what is actually driving people to succeed. So that is a real fact. Now, when I've been teaching for particular 20 years now, when I started school teaching in 2001, and I was teaching the secondary 9th and 10th standard, the parents would tell me, "Madam, वो आपका बच्चा है, आपको जो करना है करो, but आप लेकर results लेकर आना, madam, आपको जो करना है करो." And I was like, okay, this is my child. If I took the child down to play, हाँ madam, धूप में लेकर जाओ, it's okay. Now, when I do anything with the child, the parent will pick up the phone and call me and speak to me in such a way that as if I've done something really wrong. And then after some time, you feel, my God, instead of getting into a conflict, let's just step behind. So what has happened? We are still the same. We still want to do everything for our children. We want to make them strong. We don't want life to be easy for them because we know that future is not that easy. The path to life is not that easy. But the parents have really made sure that the children do not get affected. And because they are so cushioned, we find it difficult to get across our life experiences to them. So how do we get the parents to understand that to build emotional intelligence, resilience, which is everybody has been talking so much, you need to make life a little challenging for them. And that's so very important. So this emotional intelligence, not only in the students, but it has to be in our parents also. Another thing which I recently had an alumni of our school, of CNM school for 20 years. And when I met the ex-students, I realized that the students have really successfully done. Like I met Himanshi. I think she's been a comparer, because you must have seen her in many, many programs across, comparing for all movie awards, for all the Hindustan Peace Award. And in school, I never realized she existed because she was so quiet and, a nice student, but never ever came out and was not that intelligent, those high percentage. But this girl today is so confident and so successful. It's because of the emotional intelligence. So I feel that at times we now need to reflect as to how we can get the other stakeholders to think as we are thinking and bring them on our side to build the emotional intelligence of our students to sustain life for a longer period. Thank you.
I think very well put it. You have done a great job, Kavita, by putting up those lovely examples. And you're right, we as teachers and we, the educators, are actually feeling helpless. I match with your this feeling, because I remember in my school, when I was in my school, when we never used to do homework, teachers used to come with the scale and they used to say 10 हाथ पर, एक हाथ पर, 10 दूसरे हाथ पर. And some used to hit the duster also and the chalks also on our heads. We have learned like this. And I think this is a generation, like our generation, is at least able to handle this, because we have gone through that tough phase of training and teaching, which is missing now. And as soon as you touch the child today, you will get a phone call from the parent. And because of that, we are not able to make them stronger from inside. So I think parents also need to understand that they also need to give us that support and that free hand to deal with the children, because we as educator, we know how to mold the kids. I think wonderfully and nicely put.
Thank you so much,
Nivedita.
It's not even touching, even speaking.
Yeah, in fact, they will go to the court also, some of them. So I think we have to do something regarding this. Very well put.
Sorry for barging, ma'am.
Yes.
But it is time for another poll.
Yes, Ishan.
So here's the poll on your screen. So do you think right balance of EQ and IQ needs to be developed in the students to prepare them for future? Vandana ma'am, what do you have to say on this?
There has to be a balance that is to be between the IQ and the EQ, the intelligence quotient and emotional quotient. One cannot say one can do without it. Yes, and they were signed and we were talking about that. Yes, a person with IQ is definitely going to make a mark, and there was a reliable, thought that yes, the child is going to succeed in life. But more importantly, and with other experts, researchers also clearly indicates that emotional quotient, emotional intelligence is also required. Strike a balance if possible, but then definitely it plays a very important role. You need to possess a level of intelligence, but along with that, if you are low on your empathetic and social skills and emotions and expressions, then definitely, even if you have the best of mind working for it, you will not succeed. I'll take it up from the example that ma'am quoted about Mercedes. Yes, there is an intelligence, there is an intellect, there is an IQ, high IQ that is behind making up of the product. But if the product is driven by a person who is low on EQ, who has no empathy, and who is just driving on the road, you've seen what happens. So you have to have a balance of IQ and EQ, and gone are the days where only the IQs were, there used to be a pat on their back motivating them. You need to understand that here goes a parallel line which has to be focused equally upon. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. So now let's see what the results have to say, what our audience have to say. So can we have a results on the screen? Oh, wow. 100%. 100% of the audience says yes, there has to be a right balance between EQ and IQ.
I tell you,
Great.
we have high EQ audience. I'm with them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, very right. Yeah.
Right. Over
Yes.
to you, Nivedita ma'am.
Yes. So next we have on our panel is we have Madam Neetu Blest. She's the principal of Modern School Faridabad. Welcome, ma'am. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Nivedita ma'am. I'm doing very fine. Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Rocksport for this wonderful platform where all the wonderful educationists, the educators are there and we are sharing our views. And I must compliment you, Ishan, for the beautiful, sensitive topic which has been chosen for this kind of a platform where we all are sharing and learning with each other. So, as rightly said, my colleague who told that life is a balance between EQ and IQ, and I totally agree with that. Academic brilliance can give you a head start, but emotional quotient will take you a long way. This is what I think we all have to agree to and start following it up. If we talk about it, then if IQ is the ability to think, then EQ is the ability to feel. And that is what is really the need of the hour. If IQ can resolve the problems calculatively, then EQ can resolve the problems emotionally, making a person stronger. So, in the recent decades, even the psychological research has said that emotional intelligence brings in a much more impact on a person rather than an intelligent quotient. So at this time, specifically, if I talk about of this unprecedented situation, which was so uncalled for, absolutely, everyone is focusing so much more on EQ now because it is, we all know it makes a person self and socially aware. It makes a person adaptable, makes a person flexible, makes him stronger in his interpersonal relationships, tells him, teaches him how to make better decisions, how to respect boundaries. And at school, or rather, I would say at home too, when elders are all around, since the children emulate all the elders in whatever they do, in their actions, it becomes a moral responsibility as parents, as teachers, to be strengthening our children and to be teaching them through our perseverance, through our not so anxious behavior, so that because so that they are able to overcome their anxieties. They know how to deal with frustrations. They should know how to deal with failures. I feel they should know how to deal with egos, with inferiority complexes. All these are entirely, they depend on how a person feels and understands these emotions. And to go a distance, IQ traits should be rounded with social emotional skills. Like if we say motivation, perseverance, response instead of react. So which is so very important in a conflict if we talk about. It is proven in the book of emotional intelligence by Daniel Goleman that children with high EQ are definitely much better in their grades too. And the ways which we can pick up to teach this quotient at school, I would say one, being a role model. If we are talking about that, showing them what we are wanting to convey. So, what we are wanting to preach, we have to convey that. The teachers at the school need to be absolutely conflict free, patient, perseverance need to be there. Also, they should know how to deal with different crisis situations. In the same way, the children are going to be learning that. And as educators, I think we need to train our children how to deal in crisis situations, the crisis management can be really dealt with. If I talk about the second aspect of ways to teach emotional quotient, that is through the stories, I would say. So starting right from the kindergarten or nursery, telling them stories, and teaching them indirectly to be responsible, to be aware of themselves, to be sharing, to be caring, because I'm sure nobody would like to play with a child who doesn't share or who doesn't care, who doesn't really care a bit. So we all have to really focus on this kind of a teaching in our schools, which I am very sure we all are doing. Probably we have to reiterate and strengthen them. Moving on to the next, the upper grades. If we talk about the primary children or the secondary students, then the situation moves on from these kind of skills, the social skills, to attaining social responsibility, and to make them realize how they can contribute to the society at large, to make them realize how community outreach programs can be taken up in the schools, to make the children involved in them, to make them move to or go to old age homes, to take them to orphanages, to teach the students to share their toys, to teach them to share their stationery, and not what is waste and then to sharing them, what is theirs and then to sharing them. Because all this definitely is going to make a child empathetic and compassionate and a better human being. And we all want that. At the end of the day, we all are striving for a better place to live in. So this is what I would like to say. And in the end, out of the lockdown, I would urge all teachers to come out as crisp. And that is my acronym for Compassion Rich Innovative School Professionals. So if we all can follow that and be crisp out of this virtual learning. So all the best to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for giving so many beautiful suggestions. And actually, you gave some nice suggestions that they should be exposed to more of community service. They should be also taught how to take a pause. So here, I would strongly advocate something like a regular meditation on daily basis for children to build them stronger from inside. We should train them how they can center themselves, how they can align their mind, heart, and their thoughts in one line. So if they have that basic right alignment of the thought, mind, and the heart together, I think they can take better decisions, they can become stronger from inside, and they can be good human beings and the stronger person from inside. So thank you so much for those wonderful ideas and good observations, Neetu ma'am. We have our next panelist, and the last panelist today we have is Vandana Midha madam. She's a former principal at GD Goenka Public School, Ghaziabad. Madam, good evening to you, and we welcome you for this beautiful panel discussion, which I'm definitely sure everybody is enjoying it, and I'm sure everybody is taking good tips from all our good speakers and panelists. So yes, madam, on to you, Vandana ma'am. Your mic, your mic, your mic.
Ma'am, you need to unmute yourself.
Unmute. Technology, we teachers are struggling. It's a new system. See, they are the real frontline workers. They look after their families, they look after their kids, they cook food, and they handle the technology. They work day and night to make presentations. They collect the literature. I mean, they were not prepared at all, and they are doing amazing job. And I've heard that kids are like very comfortable nowadays handling the technology. So yes, Vandana madam, are we ready?
Yes, ma'am. I was also struggling with the technology that you
Yes.
just mentioned. Although
Yes.
Ishan has not asked me, neither have this beautiful team of Rocksport has asked me to appreciate them. But I thank them all, and I think the topic that they've taken is very relevant to their own program, because their own program is based on emotional quotient, how to enhance that.
Yes.
Very
And
true.
my worry was, I'm Vandana, V for Vandana, always standing in the last in the roll call, and I'll be the last in the panel. As Ishan told me, it is alphabetically.
Last is the best.
Questions, all the viewers, you've just heard stalwarts in the field of education speaking so high about and so meaningfully about the IQ and EQ. So I'll start with this topic. What the topic was, life, what determines success in life. So success itself is not a destination, it is an ongoing process, and we need to enhance it. So what is that is going to bring success, and with success comes satiating, feeling for your own self. You've achieved something in life is what I understand from the term success. When we talk about success, we are talking about IQ and EQ, which we are debating as of now. There is no debate. We need to strike a balance, which is well understood by all of us. And these are very important determinants for weaving success in life, in anyone's life, along with wealth, happiness, health, and well-being, which is very important, which are very important determinants. Here comes the question of, we are talking about the book smart or the street smart. What is the time asking for? Is a big question mark. So we have to understand that yes, IQ and EQ play a very important role. What I understand, because I come from a family of administrators, all in the field of education only, and I've been talking, our own IQ used to be checked every 6 monthly. There used to be a round of IQs. I won't say that I'm a topper or I've made a mark in the field and yet learning, but yes, the EQ is something that I'm also focusing on, because that is required and that is need of the hour, which is very important. IQ can take you to the door. It is one of a beautiful quote that I wish to quote here. I can take IQ, the intelligence quotient, can take your foot at the door. How far you are going to go, what are you going to reach and achieve, depends on your emotional quotient, your emotional intelligence. People, they don't care how much you know. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That is a very important term, and that is a very important phrase that I keep talking to my teachers as well, because empathy to me as a leader is very important. Team player and empathy, and these are all terms related to emotional quotient. When we talk about the IQ is, is a number. Intelligence quotient is a number. When you take the mental age and the chronological age and multiply it by 100 and so on, you get a number, and that decides and defines how intelligent you are. It works on the cognitive ability of your own self, which relates to memory, knowledge, content, reasoning, quantitative reasoning. But when it comes to emotional quotient, which is the need of the hour that we need to focus on, it relates to the emotions. Are you able to express your emotions? Are you able to understand the emotion of the other, evaluate, perceive the emotion that is at the other counter? Are you able to control your own emotion? Are you able to use this emotion for your social communication? All these things and relativity maps the emotional intelligence in a person. This is very important. I also wish to quote here examples from my own journey of as a teacher. I was blessed to be a part of the unit where we would say that the CBSE topper of grade 10 and 12 came from our school, our counter, and we taught that. I used to teach mathematics to that child, but I always had a feeling that the child is very high on IQ, and who's going to check his paper in board exam was a worry with us as a teacher. The child was very, very low on EQ. He was an introvert. He was not empathetic towards anybody. He was very self-centered. So we had to work on this child, groom this child. And I was told that the child dropped himself out of IIT also. Coming to the point, so the things that were lacking in the child, we were focusing on the intelligence and intellectual part of the child. But what was weaving inside was not worked upon. See, IQ is something within you. It is that you are enhancing, and it is related to your knowledge and content. But EQ, emotional quotient, is encompassing the feelings of others also. So here comes a social behavior, which is very, very important for all of us. Why do you think today at this hour, I'm also a part of the IM group Ahmedabad. So we've started aggressively talking about happiness quotient, the social quotient, Why do you think? Because these are the people who are entering are with high IQs. I had to wait for years to get into the IIM Ahmedabad management program. I was in the wait list. With high IQ, people are inside that, but they're not able to face the challenge within this system, and they are not prepared for the corporate world or for the world that has to earn bread and butter for them, simply because they are low on their emotional quotient. So we have to work upon that, and it's very important. We started the topic with the ma'am has suggested that what remedies have to come. See, CBSE at one point of time, taking this emotional quotient to work upon that, we introduced life skills value education programs as a mandate. So our question was, is life skill supposed to be taught in one particular period or section? No, it has to be weaved in the curriculum. Similarly, CBSE came up with a continuous comprehensive evaluation scheme, which was also taking the aspect of emotional intelligence, emotional quotient in the pedagogy, in the curriculum design of the school teaching at the school teaching level. But somehow it was not managed properly. The execution lagged, and the planning could not be translated and transacted in the classroom. So that was a lacuna. We need to work upon this EQ, because whatever we are listening, I mean, in the past 3 months, we are in the lockdown situation. Children, I mean, I think it is going to extend for some time, and it is definitely going to take a call on everybody's mental health and well-being. So it is very important for us to have this quotient working, and we should aggressively talking about how to combat, how to work upon, so that we are high on our EQ. Thank you.
Thank you so
Anything
much,
that I
ma'am.
need to add? I thought I'm done with my
Yes.
I stopped.
Right. Yes, madam. So thank you so much. And it is actually a very eye-opening factor which you have presented today is CBSE had planned life skill management programs, value-added programs. But this were not carried out, maybe not properly, maybe not taken very seriously. So I think now we all educators can make an appeal to the boards, to the IB board, to IGCSE board, CBSE board, Maharashtra board, whichever boards they are. I think we need to come out with a policy where we put more importance on value education, more importance on mental balance, happiness quotient, EQ. It's a high time we all need to really come together and present some remedies for students like meditation, like yoga, like pranayamas, and community service. Yes, these are things are needed now, and I think this panel discussions are such occasions where we all can put our opinions forth. We would like to thank Rocksport for giving this wonderful platform for all of us coming together and putting forth their problems, their challenges, and the solutions also. So here we have many questions, and I can see so many questions popping up here, and Ishan has been sending me questions on my WhatsApp silently, madam, you have to ask this question. Definitely will do that. And I can really see participants are very active, and the way they are putting the questions to all the panelists is something beyond everybody's imaginations. They are really high in IQ also. So they have proved it now. So let's begin.
Sorry for Bajan, ma'am.
Yes.
So it is time for the Q&A round.
Okay.
And since we all are running out very short of time,
Yes.
so I request all the panelists to share their views in quick 60 seconds.
Okay.
Sorry, Ishan, if you don't mind, can I just slightly add to something? Because
Yes,
listening
please, sir.
to everyone, if that's
Please, sir.
okay.
No,
Now,
please, sir, please.
I know we talk about the curriculum and all that. Now, this pandemic is actually a big eye-opener in terms of emotion and intelligence. Look at the youth around the world. In the US, in the UK, young people are protesting that you are taking away our freedom because of coronavirus. How stupid is that? And look at the youth in India. We go out with a mask. We are protecting ourselves. We are protecting others. Now, where do you think the high level of emotion and intelligence is? I think it's in India and it's in Germany. Because here the youth are doing the right thing. They're not fighting with the law. They're not fighting with the police. They are taking it on because they understand coronavirus can affect me. It can affect someone else because of me. Now that is called high level of emotional intelligence. And clearly in India, we have got it. I know the numbers are going up, But if you look at our death rate, it's low because policies are in place. And above all, as citizens, we are following them. Now, that is high level of emotional intelligence. Or we need to build upon that now.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. So audience, please raise your hand if you have any question from your favorite panelist. We can take at least 1 or 2 questions. There's a small icon of raise hand in your screen. Click it to raise your hand.
Most of them are thanking for the choice of topic.
Right. So we have Samir, sir. If we can please unmute Mr. Samir.
Yeah,
Yes,
I have a question. You know what? This particular session was a very enriching session, and I am actually myself, I'm the coordinator, I'm the head of department of my subject physics at the school where I'm working in Mumbai. And I think I would totally agree with all the panelists what they said that EQ is definitely more important than IQ, considering the rates of suicide which we've been seeing recently with the actors and the students and stuff. So I feel, don't you think the session also should be conducted maybe for parents as well as students, because I think they are the ones who definitely need the most, because there is too much of peer pressure and parent pressure. Because I'm working for an ICSE school, so from what my experience, what I've seen is ICSE, of course, focuses only on marks. The child has to get 90%, 95%, and for a lot of parents, it's too much of comparison. And I think that's where this session should come in, especially for parents, because they need to be emotionally very sensitive and empathetic towards their kids, because they force their children a lot. Okay, you need to get more than 90%, otherwise you'll not get anywhere in life. So what would your take be on that?
So whom do you want to ask this question?
I think I'll ask this question from Ms. Kavita Sanghvi.
Kavita ma'am, over to you.
So yes, I do agree that we really need to take these orientations, because it's becoming too much. We are thinking on one side and the other people are thinking on the other side. So what we have begun in our school is we have been having this continuously parent orientations and curriculum interactions. And every week we're having a 1-hour session with the parents to guide them as to how to, at this lockdown time, don't think of marks or anything, just think of emotional connection. So if you can have this 1-hour interaction with the parents every week, it will help. Further, we also had some expert coming and talking to our students on inner happiness. So if you can have these sessions, yes, but we're changing the board right now. We've been also talking to the council, but that's going to be a far-off thing.
Great, thank you, ma'am. So can we have more more audience to raise their hand to ask the question? Audience, please raise your hand to ask the question.
Yes.
So we have Mr. Ajay Singh. Can you please unmute Mr. Ajay Singh? Ajay sir, please ask your question. Can you please unmute Mr. Ajay Singh?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, please. Yes, sir,
Okay.
you're audible now.
I request Mr. Singh if he can answer this question, because he has seen almost 3 generations of students and parents. I think being impatient is a big factor which is playing role in reducing the EQ level of people. The kids getting very impatient. We have seen while playing, while studying, or while searching something or surfing something. And this is also impacting the youth which is coming into service, and they want very early success, quickly on the home, quickly on the car, quickly on all the facilities. And when they have some small failures, then it is affecting their feelings. Is it, or can you correlate this?
Mr. Singh.
A very interesting question, and really this is something we are observing nowadays. But it's certainly EQ, to improve EQ is not a one-day process. We have to work on it throughout, right from day one, from home also, from school, in ground, everywhere we have to work on it. And we have to make them understand it's not possible to get success always. Sometimes some failures are there, sometimes some other problems are there, and you have to cope up with each and every situation. And that can be done by the parents, that can be done by the friends, that can be done by the teachers. And when you are in continuous interaction with the students in this regard, will help them a lot. Certainly, your motivation is very much required. Motivation of the teachers is very much required. This is the only solution. Otherwise, it's not possible to make them understand. It's not possible. In the age of 18 or 19 or 20, you can have this, and that much of facilities. It's not possible. It's basically throughout the life, you will earn everything with your best efforts. When you will use your potential, you will use your knowledge, you will use your EQ, everything in a proper proportion. Then only you can do it. Otherwise, it's not possible. It will take a lot of time. And right from home to school, in office, everywhere, the environment should be like this only. It's not, but certainly when we are not scoring good marks, when we are, this is also a very nowadays status symbol. So and so student scored this much of marks and you are nowhere. But that should be stopped. And we should try our level best. You should be, you should have good knowledge. Marks is not a problem. Your EQ should be very high. IQ may be less or more, no problem at all. Contribution of IQ is only 20% in your life. And contribution of EQ is more than 80%. Anyhow, we have to develop this EQ level. We have to develop more EQ in their personality. And we can do it with a positive attitude, positive approach, motivation, and many more things. You can do it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, sir. Nivedita ma'am, if you are with your due permission, can we take one more question from the audience?
Please go ahead. Please.
Audience, please raise your hand. Right. Can we unmute Sabha ma'am? Sabha ma'am, you want to ask your question?
Yes, hello, good evening to all of you. It's really wonderful to be listening to such, eminent speakers, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to ask you a question. Actually, my children are also right here with me, and I have got 2 teenagers who are listening to this conversation along with me as a parent. So I just wanted to know, I mean, when you were speaking, I actually realized, it's actually true, because even I myself as a parent, I realize that, most of the time we speak about IQ, or I talk about, that you have to get this much marks. But then probably I have never spoken to them that what makes them happy, or, how can they keep themselves happy? Because I think that's one aspect which I never, give much thought about it. So, my children were feeling shy. In fact, I told them that they are supposed to ask you that, in case if I forget on the way to, ask them about their inner peace, or, their happiness, on the way. So I would like to, I would like y'all to give them a piece of advice. They are listening right here next to me, that, how even if parents forget to ask you about, your happiness, or, they forget to teach you about your, focusing on your EQ, how can they themselves polish their EQ?
Sabha ma'am, whom do you want to answer this question?
Anyone. I think all the panelists are superb over here. Anyone who would like to go ahead, I have no issues, sir.
So if we can have Indu ma'am here. Indu ma'am has raised the finger. Indu ma'am, please. Indu ma'am, you need to unmute yourself. Yes.
Sabha, a very good question. And of course, I'll just give you my example as how I raised my 2 sons. Right from when they were very small, one big practice that we had at home was whenever they came from school, I was the one, I would ask them, और बच्चे आज कैसा रहा दिन? I never asked them कि क्या हुआ आज क्लास में. I was the one who used to always say, और बच्चा आज कैसे था दिन? And then he would say, we had this, we had that, n number of stories of a child. And then when they used to ask me the next question, Mama, आपका आज दिन कैसा था? So it was the other way around. And this is how our conversation would begin during the lunchtime. And this practice till date we are following. Even till date, when I come back home, my son is back home because his college is closed. And the first question that he questions me is, Mama, how was your day today? My husband comes from office. He asks, Papa, how was your day today? So I think this one sentence will break the ice and your conversations would begin, whether you're happy or you're sad, or what made your day sad, or what made your day happy. So happiness is not something that we can derive from somewhere. It is within ourselves. It is within ourselves to explore. Even a one word can give you a magnificent happiness, and maybe a long sentence will not provide happiness. So dear Sabha, break the ice. Even if you don't ask, I think your children are listening to me. बेटा आप लोग मम्मा से पूछ लो, मम्मा आज आपका दिन कैसा था, आपका दिन आपने आज कैसा व्यतीत किया, और फिर मम्मा आपसे जरूर पूछेगी कि मम्मा बेटा आपका दिन कैसा था. So I think this way your conversations will move ahead. Right, Sabha?
Thank you, ma'am.
Can I slightly add to that? I know
Yes, sir,
those
please.
two lovely young children, teenagers, are standing beside Sabha. And Indu, quite rightly, you said that. Need to ask those questions. Can we ask those children to introduce themselves? Sabha, can your children introduce themselves if you're still there?
Can we please unmute Sabha, ma'am?
I think she's left. Not to worry at all.
Hello,
Right.
good afternoon. I'm Reem and I'm in 12th grade and I'm 17 years old.
Fantastic. And how was your day today? Is it Raveen you said, or did you say your name is Raveen?
Reem.
Reem, what kind of day have you had today? What was the most exciting thing you did today?
Well, I didn't do anything very exciting, but because it's a routine, so I found everything was good and it was in its place, but nothing was like out of place or exciting or adventurous. It was
And
just
how are you coping with coronavirus?
how am I coping? It's going good, but I'm listening, more positive, thoughts of many speakers, and there are a lot of webinars, encouraging webinars, and I'm just trying to be positive from inside as much as I can.
I like that. And what about the younger one? Is he or she, is that person there?
Yes, he's here.
All right, let's get him on as well. And how are you feeling, young man?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Could you introduce yourself?
I'm Ryan from 9th grade. How are you, sir?
I'm absolutely fine. Which school do you go to?
I go in Siangar City School in Pune.
Fantastic. And what has been your exciting highlight today?
I usually play games and study. I like playing games more.
What's your favorite game?
My favorite games, I usually like playing more puzzle games.
Fantastic.
And
Okay.
Also.
Fantastic. Now, both of you are standing beside your mum. Give her a big hug.
So cute.
All right. Thank you very much, both of you. Thank you. And now this is a good start. You can build upon that.
Okay, sir. Thank
Take care.
Thank you so much. And that was so lovely. But really, I think, today's webinar has actually opened our eyes, like, how we need to come out of that IQ and, go into the EQ as parents.
Precisely.
So as we have a lot of questions in the chat box, so Nivedita ma'am, if you can have the privilege of asking to the panelists.
Okay.
Over to you, Nivedita ma'am.
Yeah. So there are many questions here. Now it's a question from Arvinder Kaur. Now educational fraternity is learning the importance of balance between IQ and EQ. Suggest activities and how to make parents aware, as they have to play a vital role during early years and throughout life in upbringing of children, apart from counseling by teachers. So very good question. Who would like to address this?
I guess if we can have Neetu ma'am.
Yes. Thank you, Nivedita ma'am. I would like this to be telling Ms. Arvinder Kaur that this is, I think it's a constant process which has to be taken up with the parents. And what to me is most important over here in this context is positive affirmation and no comparison. These are the two gems with which we can really tackle all the relationship barriers if we have at all. Because positive affirmation that yes, you can do, that builds in a very big amount of trust in a child, that even if I fail, my mom and dad are going to be there for me and they will be with me. And just in case, if there is an issue, I can approach them, I can talk to them, to be telling them that I am there, and not comparing all the time that, okay, fine, look at that child, he's getting 70%, 90%, and look at you, because everybody has got their own pluses and minuses. And we have to make the parents understand that it's a world, it's a new world. The jobs which we have now, we may not even have after 10 years. Or do the parents really remember the 10th grade marks, or do they remember the good teachers? There is a big difference. We have to understand in that what exactly do we have to focus on, and how this kind of positive affirmation can build a personality, can bloom a child. I hope I am clear to you, Arvinder.
Yes, I think nicely put. Yes, it's a constant process. It's a affirmation which is also needed from parents' side, because most of the cases, kids and the students, they are more scared of their parents than anything else. How they're going to take it. That's the biggest worry they all go through, and actually they go through a silent trauma. But this has to really change. Parents have to stand by their kids, and they have to support them, and they have to tell them, no matter whatever happens, we are with you. I think very, very valid and important point madam has put forward today. And we have next question coming up: what big change should our educational system undergo to strike the right balance between EQ and IQ? My question goes to Mr. Gur Serai, sir. Yes, Gur sir. What do you think the system must undergo to strike the right balance between EQ and IQ?
Well, the curriculum is what it is. Now, when you have to change a curriculum, whether it's CBSE, whether it's ICSE, these are very big things. These policy decisions are taken at the top. But what I have seen from my own experience, wherever I've been, whether I was in the UK or now I'm currently in India, you have to make the curriculum your own. Of course, there are benchmarks, there's parameters by which you have to work to. Within that, it is very, very important as schools that we become listening schools. Listen to the children. If you do not have the open policy where children are encouraged to express themselves, now that could be through lessons, that's what we do as well, not just by having debating society, but that's important as well. But within the curriculum itself, within the lesson itself, children should be given the opportunity to express themselves. And I think that's important. Of course, then supporting our parents, organizing workshops within the school. I understand there is a lot of pressure of getting grades. And that's important, because if you do not get 99.5%, you're not going to get into St. Stephen's College in New Delhi. Now, it is down to the college as well. They need to make changes, but what we can do within our own school is give children the opportunity to express themselves, give them the opportunity to ask questions. Now, as part of our lesson plans at Satluj, we have built that in, that within a lesson, there's going to be a couple of minutes given where children are encouraged to ask questions. And of course, some children may make fun of other children. There's always that peer pressure. That's where educating them at an early age comes in. And I think that's what parents need to be educated as well, because end of the day, it is down to there's a lot of professions these days. Gone are the days you have to be a doctor, an engineer, or something. There's so many professions. You've got artificial intelligence which is coming in. So give children the opportunity to express themselves and follow the passion. Once you follow your passion, then of course other things come in, and put less pressure on children, parents. That's what I would say. Listen to your children. Give them the opportunity to speak to yourselves.
I wish to add on to this one. Can I?
I hope I've answered
Yes, please.
Yeah.
the question.
Adding on to what sir has said, We've started with a lot of beautiful practices at the school level, but we faltered simply because they were limited to an age group. So such practices are not to be limited to age group, because if we are talking about IQ, EQ, it is for us as well. It is for us and in the age of, in the middle age group, to a child, a kindergarten child, to a grade 12, to a college board. Then the problem was, like I just mentioned about the CC, it was just limited to grade 10. And then grade 12, again, the child had to go through the pressure. And again, he was brought into that roller coaster ride of grades and marks. And thereafter, the college also inviting only the children with high IQ. So there has to be a paradigm shift all across schools, colleges, universities, so that we bring that factor. Emotional quotient has to strike a balance with the IQ, which we are not doing. Ultimately, scores matter, and that is why parents are asking how to combat that. We can explain it to them, we can counsel them, we can quote examples, we can bring practices within boundaries. But once the child crosses the boundary, or maybe under the same roof, if the child crosses one wing to another wing, we do not accept changes simply because our system is not providing us that much space. There has to be a change all across. It is a river which is flowing and you are constructing a dam. It is going to work for a while. It's not going to help us out in the long run. So definitely, if you are talking about the balance, it has to be stretched to all the levels, higher levels, corporate levels, at the workplace, at the study place. And let us understand that we need to bring a major change. And I think this time, lockdown time, has given us enough time and space to think about the strategies and the pedagogies that we can work upon.
Wonderful.
To strike the balance.
Thank you, madam, for putting those points forward. I think that question was put by Hema Madhuri, and we have come to a very wonderful conclusion. You see, what is the conclusion we all have come through? That it is not a single person process or single departmental process. It's an inclusive effort. Not like the government decides or corporate decides or parents decide or kids decide. They all have to come together to make a policy. They all have to come on same page that we have to find a solution for this problem which we all are facing. Like she said, like he said, that the admission will not be given to the student who has got lower percentage than 90. This college will not accept the students who are like 60% percentile scores they have. So I think everywhere there is some backlash what they are receiving from particular points, and this is what is the whole problem. It's a big huge problem, and it will take a lot of time and lot of planning, and everybody has to come together to solve it, so that we try to bring out the kids and the youth who are more happier from inside, not only like a machine, like a robot. No, we have to look and promote this idea of promoting happiness in every child and making every child a very high in EQ. EQ is, I think, finally what we all have come to. Ishan, can I conclude, or do you want to take some more questions?
Ma'am, you can conclude, ma'am. You can.
Yeah, anybody else wants to say something? Because I think we have come to a wonderful conclusion now, and we all can just wrap this with so many beautiful suggestions what our panelists have given. So it's an inclusive efforts, and it's not like only parents can do something for this efforts, or it's not only kids are the people who are there with us in front of us. They are the moldable clays in front of us. So now we need to know how we need to mold them. We have to show them the way. We have to approach the community. We have to approach the policymakers. Even I feel the teachers in the class, I have seen this partiality. If the kid is really good in marks, in percentage, he is treated as a blue-eyed boy. So the student with 60%, 40% feels that insecurity in the class. So I think teachers, policymakers, schools, corporate, government, parents, everybody have to change. And boss, everybody has to follow a framework, a policy, which has to be now. It's high time that we need to present something in black and white so that everybody follows this, and this will help to get a better India, maybe a better global citizen, not only India, but a global citizen. So I would like to conclude by saying this. So IQ is something which will get you chair, which will get you post, which will get you position, which will get you salary, which will get you status. But EQ is something which will take you for longer time. The sustenance of the success is only if you have EQ. You have got that IAS chair, IPS chair. If you're not able to treat people properly with compassion, with love, with understanding, with care, if you're not able to do the troubleshooting, you will not be able to sail through smoothly. You will have to drop in your journey and you will not be successful in life. So very, very important. IQ is needed. IQ to optimization, but EQ is for lifelong. If you do not have EQ, I think you will not be a successful person. So I think we all panelists have put this so many important views, and we come to this conclusion that IQ along with EQ is the success for mantra. So
Thank you,
here
ma'am.
I conclude. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. That was a very wonderful session. I would
Yes.
like to thank all the panelists for taking out time and making this an
And
interesting
thank you,
discussion.
Rocksport.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
It
And
was an honor to have you all here. Thank
one
you,
second,
Nivedita,
sir,
ma'am.
we all are
Thank you,
teachers.
Vandana, ma'am.
We all are teachers. So if you give us mic, we'll keep on talking.
Just
Right.
Kill it.
We cannot restrict ourselves from speaking actually.
It's a EQ of teaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what? I had to restrain myself today.
Yes.
Very
one last line. One
Yes.
last line.
Yes.
Can I?
Yes, Vandana, ma'am.
I never realized that when I lost my mother, I realized how much health and happiness matters. More than the wealth that you have, the success chair that you are sitting on, it is the healthiness, well-being of mental and the physical, as well as the happiness portion that you have to really work upon. That maps and that weighs that is actually the indicative of the successful life that we all are aspiring to live. So stay happy, stay healthy, and blessed.
Absolutely. And I resonate with you, ma'am, because last year I lost my dad in September. And I've realized that, yes, happiness is fundamental. And make other people happy. And make other people happy.
Yes.
That's important. Thank you, Rocksport, for inviting us.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you, Indu,
Ishan.
ma'am. Thank you, Neetu, ma'am. Thank you, Vandana, ma'am.
Thank you, all the
Thank you.
participants.
I would like to thank all the lovely audience as well for joining us here.
Absolutely.
Please follow us on Facebook to know more details about the upcoming webinar. The next webinar is scheduled on Friday, that is 3rd of July, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Don't forget to register yourself. The link is shared on the chat box. Thank you once again. This is Ishan Valdia signing off. Have a great evening. Stay home, stay safe, and stay connected. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ishan.
Thank you.
Thank
all.
you very much, Ishan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Nivedita,
thank you
ma'am. Thank you,
to
Vandana, ma'am.
Rocksport and all the participants.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
And audience. Thank you.
Rocksport rocks.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Neetu, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nivedita, ma'am.